provided free education from kindergarten to junior secondary school 3, JSS 3, but it now extends to senior secondary students as well. Soludo directed that fees paid for the term be refunded to parents and noted that enrollment in public schools has risen by 18% with a 2%. The state is also investing in technology and human capital, aiming to reduce educational inequalities and improve infrastructure, especially in communities without schools. A very good steps there from the Anambra State Governor. What do you think, Dr. Godson?
Yeah, I think a government that have great value for education will go the extra mile.
Okay.
And with what the governor in Anambra State has shown, this gesture is a good gesture that will improve the society in terms of giving that opportunity for the less privileged, giving the opportunity for the those who cannot afford education, those parents who are incapable of taking their children to school, and due to the current economic situation. So the governor has really shown great stride and great commitment by declaring free education for primary, secondary, senior secondary schools. So it's a good development that will also improve the lives of people in Anambra State. And I think it's a great challenge for other governors to also borrow the idea, because any society where education is a priority, society will expect great development and good say improvement in terms of creating knowledge, because knowledge, like they used to say, is power. So education is a good thing, is a priority, and the governor has given a succor to so many families that their children have been at home. So I think I give the governor good kudos if he continues persistently and show commitment, because these are the dividends of democracy, that education is free for all and free for everyone, both the poor and the rich. So it's a good thing. I really give accolades to the governor for making this good start.
All right, it's a very good step. Mr. Isaac, I would like to get your comment, your view. How do you view the steps taken by the Anambra State government to enhance free education in both public schools from JSS 3 to SS3? What do you make of that?
Well, what the governor has done is not, it's good, it's commendable, at least taking at stride is commendable. However, this is what's expected of the governor.
All right.
What does the Constitution of Nigeria provide for? It says that it is the duty of the government to provide free education from cradle to grave. That is what the Constitution of Nigeria provides for. So it is a constitutional responsibility. But in a town of the blind, the one with one eye happened to be the king. Meaning that where others have failed in responsibility, where others have failed to adhere to the provision of this constitution with regards to providing free education, anyone who just tried to do it would look like a saint, would look like the best person. But in the real sense, that is his responsibility. That is the duty of the state. That's what the Nigerian Constitution provides for.
Okay.
Free education from cradle to grave, where possible. Of course, that is a clause added to it. But however, it's a fundamental right. In fact, it is a right on the part of Nigerians should enjoy benefit of free education. what we have seen is that everybody has relegated that responsibility. All the governors, including at the federal level, feels that no, we can't sustain it. Education should be commercialized. Education should be privatized. He's doing the right thing. He's doing what the Constitution provides of him. That is his duty. As much as we applaud him, we shouldn't make it look as if he has done something fantastic. No, that is his duty. That is what's expected to do. That is what the things is sworn an oath of office to do. So while we commend him, we are not saying that he's a saint or he has done something no one has done. That is what is expected of him, and we expect other governors to emulate the same thing, to do the needful, to make education free for Nigerians and remove a good number of the 10 million out of children and return them back to school, and that is what we want to see.
All right, so Mr. Isaac, if I get you correctly, you're saying that this is not a really development from the governor. This is what he is supposed to do. It is his constitution.
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
In tune with us, we move on to the next story. Lagos State Police Command has summoned 4 officers accused of extorting 1 million naira from National Youth Service Corps members. The incident, reported by Oluyemi Fasikpe on X, involved officers threatening the Corps members and taking them to the Area C Police Command, where they were allegedly robbed. The extortion stemmed from one member's failure to present a hard copy of his driver's license. Fasipe shared details of the incident, including transaction receipts and a voice note from one victim. In response, police spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin confirmed that the officers have been summoned and are undergoing trial, urging victims to testify at the complaints response unit. The incident has sparked widespread outrage online. Wow, this is another story we're hearing from the police as well. I mean, Dr. Godson, let me hear you. Let me get your take on this.
Yeah, I think this is one among several stories that are related to this police extortion. And so we need to see that arresting the police officers is something very, very good, and is going to show some sanity in the police, yes, and both in the police. And we encourage that the police headquarters should really do the proper thing in order to prosecute these officers, because I can't tell you that majority of the police officers are extorting a lot of money from the public, and so many of these people have no voice in terms of going to the right channels to make complaints that the extortions that the police officers has been doing on them. A lot of people have encountered this situation, and where would they go? Thank God for this Oluyemi, who has been bold enough to make this report to the police, and police taking the proactive steps in order to curtail and investigate this menace of extortion. We know that the duty of the police is to maintain order, peace, and order. But it's unfortunate that the police have taken the trade, I call it unquote trade, of extortion, because in all of our roads, we see the police taking money from road users, transporters, and all of that. And the government is silent about that. All of these are the signs or symptoms of, or symbols of the corruption that has eaten wide and deep into the society. The police is taking it as part of their constitutional duties by extorting people. And it's very, very saddening, because as we ply the roads, we drive along the roads, we see a lot of things happening. So it is something that the government should take action against. It's not just investigating the 4 police officers in this incident, but they should see it as a national problem, because it's a national issue. It wasn't like this over the years, but gradually it keeps on increasing, that the police have taken it to be their right and part of their duty, but it is not. It is not prescribed in our constitution that the police should keep extorting people, money from people. So it's an opportunity that the police force, the police commission, and the government at large should use it as a forum to, make certain pronouncements and make the police officers to begin to check themselves in order to discontinue this practice of extortion from the public. So I think if much is being done, much investigations are done, it will go a long way to, deter the police from doing this. And those who are, these 4 should be used as a deterrent to the arrest of other police officers in terms of proper investigation and prosecution. And then they should be, after the trial, they should be, penalized, sentenced for jail time, because there are provisions in our constitution that such acts, they are criminal acts, and then they should not let it go. Over time we hear that police officers have been investigated. At the end of it all, nothing is done. They are not dismissed. They are not sentenced.
I think most of them are being dismissed. There are reports of some of the police officers being dismissed, from service.
Well, it is not to the rate at which we expected, because in some cases the matter will just dial up because of, one, the connection the police officer may have at the top, and then he will be exonerated from that consequence or penalty that should be that has been determined against such crimes. So I think the government should be focused, or they should give or show interest in this situation. The police officers themselves, because let me say that out of the total number of police officers we have, all of those on the roads, they are into extortion. It is a norm to them now.
Yes.
So we do not want such to continue. So the police should use this incidents to see how they can sanitize the police force. Thank you.
All right. But Mr. Isaac, talking about corruption, I mean, there are lots of allegations and the extortion from the police itself that has been going on, and there are cases that have been reported severally. Well, Dr. Godson rightly said that the government should do something in order to curtail this menace ravaging the police. Do you think that the government can do anything to curtail this extortion, or this extortion going on in the police force today?
Well, I think the government can do a lot, and should do a lot in curbing the menace of corruption that permeates the police force.
All right.
One is that I've had people argued that the police are not well paid, they are not properly funded. Their vehicles, patrol vehicles, are fueled by themselves, by the officers themselves, and all of that. And that was the reason, or that could be the reason for the continuous extortion of the public in order to meet all these obligations. And first of all, we want to look at it from that angle. It means again that the government is failing its own system. So what the government should do is you strengthen your system so that your system can deliver what is expected of it. So when a system like the Nigerian police is grossly underfunded, and personnel are grossly underpaid, we may not be able to totally excuse their behavior, because somehow those who should ensure that that system is strengthened are not doing what they are supposed to do. So if we want to catch the thief, let's put in place a system that will even prevent the thief in the first instance from stealing. So we have that system, which is the duty of the government for today and any government. It is their duty to ensure that its system is strengthened such that it is devoid of any loopholes that bring about this kind of situation. So that is on one hand, the government is failing the system by not ensuring that its capability is strengthened. Then two, while that is on one hand, the other one is within the administrative system of the Nigerian police. What exactly are they doing in terms of training, retraining, value orientation, sanctions, and even rewards? What are their sanction system look like? What is the reward system look like? So if you're a police officer, you are doing the right thing, how are you being rewarded? And if you are not doing the right thing, what are the mechanisms to deal with such? How severe could that be? Like Doctor said, the level at which we see police, errant police officers being dismissed is not up to what they do out there. Many of them, because of one godfather here, closeness to one commissioner, and this and that, you discover that after the case comes up, or sometimes it goes down, you don't hear anything. And the next week, you see the same police officer in uniform on the streets. We want the sanction system to be more stringent, such that anybody who wants to engage in this kind of atrocities will know that if he or she is caught, the consequences will not be palliative. And these are the things the Nigerian police force should put in place, both in terms of administrative correction and other punitive measures that will serve as deterrent. Corruption is endemic within the system. That is just one. Some weeks ago, we were talking about the police PRO saying that public should not give the public should not give money to bribe to police officers. But look at this case of these young boys. They were driven down to the police post, to the area command where they were practically robbed.
Mr. Isaac, we can hear you.
Because they have no weapon to pack down. Perhaps they will have been roped with different all kinds of allegations. They will have been charged for all sorts of with all sorts of crimes. And in Nigeria, don't have the justice system is porous. Before you will clear your name of any form of any charges levied against you in jail. And that is the situation. That is why it is important that we have a system that works, a system that can provide strong deterrence to erring police officers, such that Nigerians do not continue to be victims of their crimes, be victims of the failure of the system on one hand.
All right, thank you so much. Dr. Godson, do you see, I would want to ask you again because I'm very particular about that. Do you see the police sanction department, do you see them sanctioning these police officers? Like you rightly mentioned that most of them are not, at the end of it, we don't get to see the results of their sanctions and all of that. But for this case, this particular case now, do you see any possibility of them getting, most especially these core members, of them getting justice, or of these police officers being sanctioned?
Yeah, I think we need to look at our justice system,
like Mr. Isaac said.
Because we see that the justice system is beginning to raise some dust in terms of having doubts on their capacity of ensuring that justice prevails. It will take extra effort from the core members because in Nigeria it is who you know and how much you have to prosecute the matter. But in this situation, it shouldn't be that way. It should be such that the police headquarters should assume to the role of ensuring that these police officers are penalized, sanctioned, and it should be done according to the police rules and regulations, and in terms also in relation to our constitution. So if the police headquarters take it as a priority in terms of trying to sanitize the police force, I think they would do the needful in terms of following the law, following the constitution, and the criminal justice system. That's the criminal law and the judicial system in terms of ensuring adherence to these regulations of our judicial systems. If the court itself also will play their own vital roles in ensuring that the crime that these police officers have committed duly, sanctioned, they are duly prosecuted as well, and then they are sentenced according to law, then the core members will have that solace that yes, that justice has prevailed. But if the police keep, playing the usual laissez-faire kind of attitude and not ensuring that these officers are prosecuted, they are sentenced, and they are also dismissed, and then this report or this information should be made known to the public. It will create that awareness as well as belief that the police have started doing the right thing. Because if it continues the way it used to be, that we hear that they are tried and at the end of it all, nothing is said any longer about it, it will still make the system not to be, reformed in terms of ensuring that this extortion does not continue. So we need to see the police coming up with all information regarding these officers made known to the public. They should let the public know about the extent they have gone in curtailing this menace. And the core members themselves too, I think with all the support of because in this situation I see the civil society organization, I need to see other organizations that promote societal justice. They have to raise their voice, support the core members, because without that, the justice for these core members will become maybe a mirage. So we need to see all of these agencies coming around the core members and then ensuring that they participate in terms of questioning the role of the police and what they have been able to do, and the court themselves must live up to the expectation of the public, because we see the court itself beginning to give us some doubt that it is no longer the last hope of the common man. So the court must stand tall in this situation, they must not be intimidated, they must not be silenced, they must play their own constitutional role in ensuring that these police officers are penalized, they are, sentenced, and then possibly they are also imprisoned.
All right.
So that's my view.
All right, Mr. Isaac, I'd like to get your opinion, because I do know that police do have their own disciplinary measures when it comes to their disciplinary committees on issues regarding this. But I want to get your opinion. What do you think what kind of measures do you think that the police disciplinary committee should put in place that would enforce this, these facts, that this thing will not happen again? Because most of the times you get complaints like this regards to this extortion and the rest. So we need something that will serve as a deterrent to other police officers, so this occurrence shouldn't happen again, and most especially to the masses, to the public out there that the police are serving. What do they need to do when such an occurrence like this happens? I would like to get your opinion on that.
Okay, so first I want to talk about this, one of the systems the police force has in place. There is this unit called the Complaint Response Unit.
Yes.
That is domiciled with at the force headquarters. And some years back, I've had cause to engage that unit vigorously on several issues. And I will tell you, because of my engagement with this CRP Complaint Response Unit, I discovered they are doing a lot of fantastic work.
All right.
Those guys there are committed, diligent, and in fact, no nonsense. Permit me to mention a name under the auspices of the then ACP Marcus Ishaku. That man is a fantastic man who does not take nonsense, does not condone any form of corruption or misbehavior from the Nigerian police personnel. And these are the kind of people and units that need to strengthen within the police force, even to the divisional office level. We should have this kind of individual. The police force should identify this kind of individual within its rank and file to manage a critical unit like the police unit, just as the then ACP Marcus Ishaku was manager. I don't know if he's still an ACP or DCP now. And that is the kind of thing, because we had a case where they had to summon police officer from Lagos and give them 24 hours to appear in Abuja at post headquarters, and all day because of the complaint that was brought about to them. So this kind of system needs to be strengthened within the police administrative procedure. That is number one. Okay. And then number two is that the process of reporting complaints should be made more, how do I call it, more easy for the people.
Yes.
Such that you have kind of complaint and you have the evidence, you can easily report, and then actions will be taken care will be taken on them. If we have this kind of system and this kind of procedure, opportunity in place to report police officers, we will do that. People will do that, and because they know that they will be sanctioned, they will be treated the way they should be treated. Nigerians will have confidence in the Nigerian police force. Nigerians will have confidence in the leadership of the Nigerian police force. Nigerians will be willing to work with them to remove these unscrupulous personnel from our streets, from our roads.
And the police force as well.
Exactly. And that is one of the things that the Nigerian police force should look at strengthening. We have people within the Nigerian police force who are ready and are willing, people like Marcus Ishaku, who is doing a great job and who can do more. We have many of them. These people should be identified and given the opportunity to do work. And you will see sanity will come into the system because everybody will sit tight. And if there is a need for policy within the Nigerian Police Force Commission, whatever, it should be strengthened. All of this needs to be put in place too, so that you don't leave room for chances in any form. You block loopholes. And if any officer now feels he can override any of these procedures and policy, let it face the consequences, and let the consequences be severe. And that was some of the term. And that is what I think the Nigerian police force should look inward and see. One, create more opportunity for people to report, even at the local level. Have units of complaint response unit in up divisional offices, headed by very diligent, serious-minded police officers, senior police officers, who will not compromise when cases are brought to him. If we are able to have these small changes in place, system in place, it will go a long way to cut the menace that permits the menace of corruption that permits the Nigerian police force, and they will begin the public will begin to see them in better light, and also see them as partners they can work with confidently, not that you go and report and you become the victim again. So this is a situation that needs to be guided and needs to thoroughly engage. Worked through to ensure that we have a system, the police system that works for her.
All right. Then, so we move on to the next story now. Over 30 PhD holders have resigned from Sa'adu Zungu University, SAZU, in Bauchi State due to administrative challenges, according to ASU Zonal Coordinator Namo Timothy. He criticized the poor management of the university, lack of pension and death benefit schemes, and over 650 million naira owed to staff in allowances since 2012. Timothy also condemned the appointment of an underqualified bossa branch can no longer guarantee industrial harmony unless the Bauchi government addresses the situation. Efforts to resolve the issues have so far been unsuccessful. And now here is Bauchi State, now 30 lecturers resigning over poor working conditions, and most times their salaries, their arrears are not being paid like they say there. Dr. Godson, let me get your thoughts on that.
Okay, it is the right of the lecturers to resign.
Okay.
Yes, if they feel ill-treated, that their working conditions are no longer palliative to them, so it is their right to resign. And their resignation should spark the government to take the necessary steps in terms of investigating those complaints that the lecturers have highlighted. And because it's not fair that you are working, you know, the work that lecturers do is so tedious that, yes, they need to be in a very comfortable environment. They need to be given good welfare condition, working conditions, and their money should not be something that will be stored. They should be encouraged by providing this the wages and allowances that accrue to their job. And so it's in Nigeria we hear such things that lecturers are being owed this one, that one, and all that. It doesn't make the work to go forward. I'm in the system, and we need a very good working condition that is very active, because without that, it will not allow the lecturers to deliver, because you cannot be working and suffering. It's a job they do, it's a mental job that they don't need to experience these ugly situations. Yes, so the government should not waste any time in terms of addressing these complaints, so that the lecturers could either be recalled or they will come back. Else, as they have resigned, most of them will go for going to searching for other jobs in other universities. And you know, our public institutions, let me say that it is not up to the expectation, international expectation, standard that is required. I see some universities, they lack water, they lack electricity, they lack good office conditions, and all of these environments are not really conducive. So it is not proper. And for these lecturers to resign, they have been complaining, like we're told. Since 2012, they have been owed their allowances, 2012. And they've been enduring. You know, the system is such that instead of the system to improve, it keeps declining, degenerating. I don't know, because it's going to impact on the delivery of these lecturers. You can't deliver. I know what it takes to do a research. I'm into a lot of research I've been doing. And for us, we take make different attempts in terms of going to look for where we'll find a good environment to do this research. And then without that, you cannot be able to, you know, perform in terms of the expectation that is required from you. So the government should do something. They should begin to listen to these lecturers. It shouldn't get to this point of resigning, allowing them to resign. It shouldn't get to that point. So this matter is not just for this particular university. It is a general phenomenon. It's a general problem. It's a general condition that we find in our country. But if we move to other neighboring countries, it is not the same. I happen to see some places where you find the lecturers are treated well, given good working conditions, they are paid their allowances, their salaries, they are not being owed in Africa. And we see these lecturers doing so well. But coming to Nigeria, all we are hearing is that they are owing this allowance, they are owing for years. I remember in one of our neighboring states here, the lecturers were owed for 11 months, no salary. So how do they expect them to live? They have their families, they have their responsibilities, they have all of that. And now this university at Bauchi, they are still owed allowances since 2012. And their condition of the condition of their working condition is not really something good for them. So why do we allow this country, our university system, to keep having this same problem often and often? So something should be done. The government, I know sometimes when we say government, yes, the university system, both the management of university, everybody now will see that the money that I amassed for this allowance or for that allowance, few group of management staff will take over this such money. We seize the money. It is something we are hearing, we are seeing. And it is not good for our country, it's not good for our universities, that the money that have been mapped out for these allowances should be paid. Nobody should seize it. Because for this complaint, if you check the government coffers, you will find that the money has been released. It's in part of the budget, in the educational budget of the government. The money is there. So who is holding it? Why has it not been paid to the lecturers? These are the questions the government should take into consideration. And then all the university management also should be questioned, interrogated. Let them know why these allowances have not been paid.
All right.
So that's what I think. Let's make this amendment so that our university system can thrive, can grow, can compete with other universities outside this country. Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Isaac, I would like to get your opinion on this. Let's begin from 2012 when these, lecturers are being owed, for it to result to this point that the lecturers would have to resign. One will wonder what qualities of students will be produced from this, from this university, SAZU in Abuja. I would like you to deliberate on that. Mr. Isaac, if you can hear us.
Oh, so sorry, I was talking with that.
All right.
Putting on the mic. Okay. So I was saying that this situation is not peculiar to the
all right.
School alone. It's something that we hear of in across our tertiary institutions in Nigeria, so universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, and so on and so forth, where lecturers are being owed several months of unpaid salaries, unpaid allowances, and so on, benefits and bonuses, and all of that. It's a situation that the growth and development of our education system, let us be clear on that. And it is something that the government should look and take seriously. Why should the hen laying the golden egg suffer? These guys work day and night. They spend their time, their hours researching, doing so much to ensure that we have a better future in this country, to produce generations of vibrant workers, vibrant youth, vibrant leaders. But these same people are the same ones that are not better treated. If anybody should be better paid, they should be the one.
All right.
They do more work, more job in terms of nation building than even those the so-called legislators we have in the National Assembly. They do better work. They are more productive. And yet, these are the people whose economic welfare has been relegated to the background. It is not good. It is deserting. And that is why it should, as a matter of policy, be looked into how to improve the condition of living of it, our agents. How do we improve their standard of living? Through better pay, regular, frequent, and what have you, payment of their remunerations, of their allowances, of their bonuses, and all of those that they need to survive. Any nation that fails to treat the teacher well will not develop, will not grow, because they will continue to produce rubbish and throw out to the street for us.
And that's going to have an adverse effect on the masses, on the public, in short. Exactly.
These are the people one day who will even find themselves in the National Assembly and make laws for us, deliberating on how to move the nation forward when they themselves do not receive any quality education. So if we want the future to really be bright, and say for this country, the education system is well paid, they are well remunerated, they are given conducive working environments, working conditions that talk with global standards, and we see them do a lot of work. A lot of research work will be carried out that will help the country, and that is what we are seeing. In fact, you see, currently Nigeria is experiencing brain drain. Many of our brilliant guys, doctors, professors are leaving Nigeria. Both in the health sector, in the academia, they are all leaving, looking for green pasture.
Well, could that be attributed to the training system in Nigeria? Is that the reason why most of these people are leaving?
It's about the reward system.
All right.
It's about the reward system. They are not getting commensurate reward for their labor, for their efforts. And nobody wants to waste his time working here where you are earning peanuts, whereas people are even lesser than you in terms of qualification, even intelligence, and anything higher somewhere else. So it's about the reward system. It's not encouraging. The reward system is not encouraging for them, and that is why they are leaving. And if we don't do something about that quickly, we will end up finding charlatans, quacks in our systems, the education system, people who do not know anything. And these are the people who we expect to add the future of the country into their hands. No. So something concrete needs to be done. We need to look at the reward system, the salary structure, the bonuses, the allowances, The same way members of the National Assemblies are earning FDD, these lecturers should earn, but they are even doing more work, better work that they are doing. We should stop funding hypocrisy. We should fund real content. We should fund real ideas. We should support those who are genuinely working for the country to develop, and not those who sit 3 times a week and collect bogus allowances for doing nothing, for passing obnoxious bills. No, we need to look at this completely, and that is one of the things. I said it's a matter of policy. The Nigerian government needs to rethink its strategy around improving quality of education in Nigeria. And doing that, this issue of reward system for lecturer should be considered with utmost priority, such that we can address the concerns and they don't continue to resign. Imagine 30 lecturers leave the school. What is left now?
Exactly the question.
So we need to guide against such, not just in that school, but in all our tertiary institutions.
Well, all right, we do hope the government take the necessary steps to make sure that these demands or the demands of the lecturers have been met. Well, let's take a look at the next story here. 7 months after negotiations concluded with a minimum wage of 70,000 naira. The federal government of Nigeria has begun implementing this wage increase for over 1.2 million civil servants in September 2024. The salary adjustments were formalized through a warrant signed by the Accountant General, Dr. Oluwatoyin Maiden. The salary structure varies by grade level, with annual earnings ranging from 930,000 naira for level 1 officers to 6,918,560 for grade level 17 officers, which is reserved for permanent secretaries. The total monthly cost of implementing this wage is estimated at 334.9 billion naira, translating to an annual wage bill of 4.19 trillion naira. While the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and Trade Union Congress (TUC) welcomed the wage adjustment, some civil servants expressed dissatisfaction, citing economic hardships and inadequate increases. Pensioners in the Southwest region have also called for a renegotiation to demand a 250,000 naira monthly salary due to rising living costs. The private sector raised concerns over the potential threat of imprisonment for non-compliance with the new wage, arguing that many small and medium enterprises, SMEs, may struggle to afford this minimum wage without government support. Although larger companies generally pay above the minimum wage, smaller businesses might face downsizing or closures. Stakeholders, including business associations, urge the government to provide relief or incentives to support compliance with the new wage structure. Dr. Godson, a lot of people are expressing dissatisfaction with the 70,000 minimum wage, complaining about the high cost of living in Nigeria, the inflation rates, and the rest of it. Don't you think this is a good step by the federal government to initiate this minimum wage?
I think I can describe the minimum wage as like pouring water at the back of the dock.
How so?
Because how will you give a minimum wage that is unable to buy a bag of rice?
Okay.
And we look at the whole thing, it's like turning a circle, just rolling up and down, just turning. The situation in Nigeria is really very pathetic because the issue of minimum wage, a minimum wage that is not up to, if you look at a minimum wage, not up to, say, $20, for example, and even $20 is too big. What I'm trying to explain is that the money is not commensurate to the economic condition that is pervading our society, and the civil servants cannot cope with it because what the NLC negotiated with the government, the 70,000 naira minimum wage is very, very poor in terms.
But compared to the 35,000 initial 35,000 naira.
Yes, it's poor because the rising cost of living, the inflation, is something that 70,000 cannot be able to cope with. And if, for example, you are receiving 70,000 naira as your minimum wage, and you want to buy your food items, you have a family, you have 2 children, and you are to pay medical bills, you are to pay your housing, your rentage, you are to pay the children's school fees, and you are to feed 3 square meals a day. Man, it doesn't look realistic. And I've seen the analysis in terms of the sum of money they are to receive per annum. Man, it's still very, very poor. So, yes, there is need, just as the civil servants are requesting, that they need to renegotiate.
Okay.
But I think that will be a very far thing to do. It's not going to be an immediate thing, because the negotiation, they just mean just the government beginning to, you know, pay those the 70,000 minimum wage. And I am telling you that it's like putting fuel into the fire. The money is not able to do anything, and the people are still in the same suffering. So what do? I think, to me, I will advise the civil servants and all of the others, those in the private sector. The situation is such that they have nothing to do other than to look for social assistance in cases or places, in situations where their minimum wage is incapable to solve their problem. There is need to seek for social assistance.
Well, they are saying they need incentives and
other things. So they need to look at that, because left alone, the minimum wage is unable to cater for such economic needs. And the private sector themselves are lamenting they are not going to be able to pay. The only people that can pay such minimum wage, which also were paying more than the minimum wage, are those in multinational companies where they pay. And yet, you can imagine in a company, I know of a case that in the private sector, the man was receiving up to $1 million plus as his take-home salary. But he couldn't pay his house, the children fees. And what he concluded to do was to leave the country. As I speak to you, he has left this country.
I mean, he couldn't pay the rent, he couldn't pay. How was he able to travel out?
Yes, what happened is this. He was able to, you know, some of them, they have properties. They sold their properties and they left. He left with the family. He's gone. So what I'm trying to say is that the minimum wage issue is a very pathetic, is a pathological problem for the civil servants, because it doesn't solve anything. We are looking at what has affected our economy. That's the area we should be looking at. We are told that the fuel subsidy removal has contributed to the inflation in all parts of the economy and country. And these are the issues that should be addressed. Not 70,000 naira does not solve the problem. A week, 70,000 for a family cannot solve their problem. So I am saying that the implementation of this minimum wage by the government, yes, they said they will do it, they have started doing it, but why would the main cause of the inflation, of the problem in the economy, has not been treated, has not been handled? It's not minimum wage. That's why I said it's like pouring water at the back of the duck. We have not addressed what has given rise to the economy. Let's say a year plus ago, the economy wasn't this way. People were able to manage, even at the 35,000 naira, they were managing and living better. But all of a sudden, we're in a situation that pricing, cost of commodities keep skyrocketing every minute. I went to buy something from the market, and I was pricing how much. They told me. The next thing the person said, hold on, let me make a call. And I was there. They were calling where they used to buy it. There and there, they told me the price has changed, added 5,000 on top. No. I was looking at, I was so dumbfounded. I said, what kind of economy are we in? That pricing is not controlled. Everything is working just abnormally. So, issue of minimum wage cannot fit in such situation. Because, for example, we are buying a bag of cement for 6,000, 6,500, 7,000, and we just in a day or two, you come back, the cement is 9,000, and then before you know it, the prices. So, where will the minimum wage fit in? So, in Nigeria now, what we are looking at is feeding. We are talking of building, talking of buying of any property and all that. No, but we're not even looking at that. To feed is the problem. And minimum wage cannot feed the civil servants. It cannot, because the 70,000 naira is unable to face the high inflation in the country. So the government should look at why the high inflation, which we know that in our own situation in Nigeria, everything has been tied to the petrol, the fuel, the transportation. In fact, somebody going to Lagos now, you have to hold up to 200,000. You know, because the drivers and the motorists, they have been able to devise that they stop you halfway. They cannot continue. So the cost of living is high. The minimum wage cannot ameliorate, cannot solve the problem of the high cost of living. That's why the civil servants are suggesting that they should revisit the 250,000. Even the 250,000 cannot do it until the economy is stable, until the inflation is, controlled, and until our petrol fuel pricing is controlled, because the fuel pricing now is not controlled. That's why the price of transportation keep escalating, increasing, and all that. So the economy, you cannot determine how much you will need to face the economy in Nigeria. So the implementation of this this minimum wage is not doing us good. For this, it's not doing the civil servants good. The 70,000 in particular is not doing good, because it's unable to cater for the needs of the people. So the civil servants will keep crying. They will keep lamenting until the fuel pricing is controlled. That is when we will start having a more stable economy.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Isaac, I would want you to tell me what you make of this, negotiation from the civil servants to the federal government that they need 250,000 instead of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. What would you make of that story?
Well, I think their demand, right? It's the reality.
All right.
I don't think any sensitive government should wait until that demand is made before they do the needful. Just listening to Doc talking, and I was just thinking, somebody is collecting 70,000 naira in this economy. What is the level of inflation? Our inflation rate is edging toward 40%. If, as an economist, if you discounted 70,000 by the almost 40% inflation rate, the real value of 70,000 is less than 10,000 naira, or let's say maybe thereabout. That is the real value of the 70,000 naira the government is paying, or wants to claiming they will pay rather in this period. It's totally it's totally unheard anywhere in the world with this kind of inflation, and this is what the government can offer. It's work plus money that cannot even take care of their transport. And I did a very simple analysis around that. In Abuja, where I stay, let's assume a worker, no child, no wife, no child, or no children, earns 70,000, and he lives in a place like Lube and works in secretariat, where he will spend an average of 2,500 daily going to work. So if he goes 3 times a week, that is 7,500. In 2 weeks, that's 15,000. 1 month, that is 30,000, and that is a conservative rate. So you deduct 30,000 from the 70,000, he has 40,000 naira left. He lives in a self-contained, not even within an estate or inside one of the villages, where he pays an average of 400,000 per annum. So if you divide that, let's say another 25,000 gone from that money per month. So what he has left is 15,000. Can 15,000 feed him?
He will also have to pay the tax as well.
Inflation, can it even attend to his medical needs? What would that? So that man is practically not living. It's not alive. And that is why we say what we want, what government should do, is give a living wage. A living wage is a wage that is able to take care of basic needs. We are not talking of savings, so we are not talking of investment. So let the man just live his life to serve government and work for 35 years and retire and then go and die. So why should a sensitive government wait until workers start clamoring for minimum wage, for wage increase, before they understand that the economy is not, what they are paying does not match with the reality of our economy? Now, in fact, this minimum 70,000 we are saying, many state governors are saying they can't even pay. Let us to be clear. Many of them are saying that they cannot pay, they don't have the resources. And this is at the time when President Tinubu told us, or said to us, that we have to bear the burden, we have to bear the hardship, so that we can free more money for the states. And then the state governors are still the ones telling us that no, we don't have money. In the history of allocation sharing, under President Tinubu, they have shared more than any other administration to the state government. And yet they cannot pay 70,000 in an inflation level, in a country with an inflation level of over 34%. What should be, and that is where I have problem with the labor movement. If you are going to the negotiation table, you go with all your hands. You go with all ammunition or armory you have in your arsenal to negotiate, because whatever is concluded now may not be reversible in the immediate again. According to President Tinubu, he said they will subject this wage to review after 5 years.
After 5 years, yes.
Or every five years. So meaning that even if inflation gets to 70%, Nigerian workers should keep quiet for the next 5 years. We adopt what other countries are doing. In countries like China, for every 1% inflation increase, there's 1% wage increase. That is the policy. That is the, nobody is debating. Nobody is coming to negotiate. Nobody is clamoring. The moment there is 1% inflation increase or rise, automatic 1% wage rise will come. That is the kind of policy that we should put in place. It will also make the government understand that, see, if we do not do everything with our power to curb inflation rates in this country, it's going to affect our revenue. It will mean that we will spend bulk of our money paying salaries and not able to do other things. And they will do it, but because they know that even if inflation gets to 100, it doesn't concern them. They can afford to allow inflation to be on the creep up, on a free rise. So I think I want to call on this government to please review that decision. Even the 250,000, even the 250,000 we are talking about, how much is 250,000? That is just about maybe $150 per month. It is still not sufficient. But let's start from that. And then we now begin to review our time zone. And also to have a policy that just says, see, once there's a rise in inflation, there should be a rise in minimum wage. Automatic to compensate for the wage, for the inflation rise.
All right, so let's take a look at the private sector now. The private sector, they've come out to complain that because they feel they faces jail terms if they are not able to meet up with this minimum wage issue. So let's take a look at them. How would they be able, I mean, do you see any possibility of them being able to, you know, adhere to this policy as regards to the minimum wage?
It will be difficult for the private sector to adhere. And I will say this. What exactly is government doing to support the private sector? Is it in terms of infrastructure that is just lacking? Everybody has electricity. Everybody spends so much to buy fuel, to buy diesel, to power their system. Cost of raw materials for those who are in production is alarming. Cost of transportation is going up very high. How will they break even in the face of all of these challenges without any form of support from the government? How will they break even? How will they survive? See, we are yet to see anything. In the coming months, you will see many businesses shutting down, many private businesses shutting down. So we are even still talking of if they are not able to pay minimum wage. It is when they exist that they will be talking of you will go to jail if you not pay minimum wage. They will shut down, and that will increase the rate of unemployment in the country, and that will also affect the security situation in the country. Because when we have more unemployed youths out there, you cannot control crime. So before the government will open up its mouth and say, no, if you don't pay, you go to jail. Let us ask, what are you doing in countries like America, in Europe, in Europe, discover that there are times, even in private businesses, during the trends that happened in the US and spread across the globe, supporting private businesses, giving loans, giving funds, subsidizing their interventions, such that they should be able to take care of their citizens. And that is what a responsible government should be looking at. So private businesses, how do we help people? They're not helping them, but you are putting a button on them.
Okay.
So that should be done first. We need to find a way government needs to find a way to intervene and support the private business, either by providing adequate infrastructure or giving them whatever relative that will help pushing their work and help them meet their obligation to their citizens.
All right.
All of these are what is expected of them. So you just stop and tell them to go to jail for what? What of if they close down? What will the government do?
All right, Dr. Godson, I would like you to also share your thoughts on this. I mean, they're facing jail terms if they are not able to meet up with the policy of the 70,000 naira minimum wage. What do you make of that?
Yeah, we're looking at the private sector. There are different categories.
All right.
There are those private sectors that can afford 70,000.
To pay even more than?
Yes, even more than. Those companies into maybe manufacturing and other services they render. Now, what happens is that as the inflation goes up, as the economy becomes high, they also escalate their own pricings and all of that.
And that's going to affect the masses as
yes,
well.
Yes, it's going to the masses because they are the ones that will suffer it. The private sectors will, for example, those medium-scale businesses and all of that, they are also increasing their pricings. As the inflation goes up, as the economy gets harder, they also do that. Such ones can be able to pay, except those lower-class private sector, the small-scale businesses owners that they just maybe hire 2-3 persons. They will not be able to do that. And I want to say that most of these people, they will have these people working with them, but they can't afford. And the people working for them wouldn't want to leave because they will negotiate among between themselves that don't bother. The 20,000 you're paying us, we'll manage it. The 25,000 you're giving us, you understand? So in such situation, the government may not be aware in terms of coming to find out because they won't even come. Government will not come to ask how much these individuals are being paid. So such private organizations, low-class organizations may still survive, although some may collapse, some may totally shut down. In terms, even some have already shut down because of the hardship and all of that.
The inflation.
Inflation is really affecting them. They can't survive. So we're looking at the private sector that the inflation and the minimum wage that the government is imposing on them will actually make them not to, be much in terms of having the number of the private sectors, while some will be closing down, making unemployment to increase and all of that. So
just like Mr.
Isaac said. So we see them. Then the government, the system we are in is not, the government is not even interested in the private sector in terms of funding, like Isaac mentioned, giving those
infrastructure,
palliative and all of that. The government is not careful about that. They are not concerned. So the thing is that imposing jail time for the private sector, it's a laughing stock for me. It is such that the government just want to make those statements, and I think that you cannot imprison somebody you didn't support. The person is also struggling to survive. For example, I'm the private sector owner of a business outfit, and then I see that my business is not growing because the economy is affecting. What I can do is that I relieve all the workers and maybe keep one. And even that one, I may not be able to pay that money because where will I source the money? And
the one I will not be overtaxed.
Overtaxed, yes, of course. And in fact, it's going to still affect the economy because when businesses are closing down, the economy is closing down. The more the businesses are shutting down, is also shutting down the economic landscape. So it's a very serious problem. Isaac mentioned something very interesting. I agree with him. The government should be talking about living wage, and the government also should be, putting in, looking at the inflation and all of those. If the inflation increases, the wage should also increase. That's what is happening in Europe and other developed countries. So we need our government to look down, to look inward. They should be humane. They should be considerate. You know, politics is not all about, yes, we know politics is what you get, what you acquire, what you accumulate for yourself. But we know that if everybody in the society dies and they are the politicians, they are still the ones living, who would they govern? Where would they get the revenues? So this is why in a more advanced society, they make everything to work. Because if the society is working positively, things are moving well, your revenue will increase. The revenue generation will increase. And where the society is declining, the economy is declining, you'll be forcing people to do what they cannot do.
All right.
That's our situation in this country.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what I think. The private sector will be coerced to pay what they cannot pay. Since they cannot do that, they close. So I don't see that jail time to be realistic, in my own opinion.
Okay, so now we move on to the next story. Federal government of Nigeria plans to reduce transportation fares by over 40% by promoting compressed natural gas, CNG, for commercial vehicles. This initiative was announced during a memorandum of understanding signing ceremony in Abuja, involving key stakeholders like the National Union of Road Transport Workers. The government aims to lower fares, with examples including a reduction from 12,000 naira to 7,000 naira for 8-passenger vehicles and from 13,000 naira to 8,000 naira for 4-passenger vehicles traveling from Abuja to Ajaokuta. 10 CNG conversion centers have been established, with more planned, and vehicle inspections will begin next week. The initiative seeks to ease passenger cost while creating a sustainable transportation model with enforcement mechanisms in place to ensure compliance with the new fare structure. So here is the federal government bringing this in to, further ameliorate the painship, the hardship we're facing right now in connection with the 70,000 naira minimum wage.
I think, to my own opinion,
okay,
I don't advocate for CNG vehicles. Why I'm saying so, we need to look at the society, that's European societies. Vehicles, or in other countries, are they using the CNG for commercial purposes?
Okay.
These are the things we need to look. Nigeria should not come to take what they've not got, in fact, they've not reached in terms of our environment, the awareness of the society, of the people, and looking also at the consequences of this CNG. Can we manage it? It's not flagging it off and say, okay, everybody, CNG bus, CNG cars, CNG that. Our awareness, now knowledge level in managing gas, I don't think Nigeria has got to that stage.
Well, this is a compressed gas, not like the other natural gas we use. So
yes. Do you know that a compressed gas, it could be butane or propane, I don't know what they use. But my fear is that, gas explosion is very, very, in fact, more dangerous than, let's say, other forms of explosion. Because if everybody start using CNG, and then on the way, there is an accident.
Well, I think the compressed gas is not that type that, explodes just like we have the other ones, the natural gas that we use in the cooking, because it's compressed.
They are compressed. The domestic gas we use, is it not compressed? It's a compressed gas, we use it. It's bottled. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think CNG is the solution to the transportation fare. Okay. Because the society is a new thing. To the society, look at the number of people in this country. How many persons are aware? Or what we are aware of and what we are common with is the petrol, which we use. our concern is that why not give us the petrol? Why not make it the way it was that people can afford? Because look at the number of cars we have now. They say go and convert your car to CNG, to gas and all of that. I don't solicit for that. Okay. Because the area I'm looking at is the consequence. The hazardous state of this gas. That awareness has been created to the extent that people in the society should start going after CNG. No. They are not telling us the other aspect. Even if you say you have a compressed gas and people start using this gas, my dear, a lot of people will die. I'm telling you based on the knowledge, in terms of the knowledge level of the country. Okay. So you don't start to say, okay, we've flag off, start using it. No, there should be a line, a time frame that people will start getting the awareness. How do you use this? How do you go? Not just because of the fuel hike, and now you are bringing this. Okay, everybody, let's begin to go for the CNG. No, it's not how they do it, because it's a very hazardous element, substance that the public cannot. In fact, I even thank God for Nigerians. Many people are beginning to say, these guys, they are not. It's a petrol, and that is what we can afford. It's what we can access easily. Now, telling how many over 200 million of Nigerians owning car, they should start coming to CNG. Please, it's not going to help us. All right. Yes, thank you. Right. Okay.
Mr. Isaac, I would like to get your thoughts on the steps taken by the federal government to adopt CNG in order to reduce transportation fares.
Well, I really do not. I really do not think that is what Nigeria needs now. Okay. Doc has said it all. See, we have issues around the safety. There are lots we need to learn as a nation with regard to gas. Yes. And also in terms of the regulations around it. And we even have regulation around domestic utilization, coupled with the safety regulations around it. How many people are aware? How many people are conscious of some of the risk attached to it? For me, well, that's an issue on one side we can interrogate further. But where I have problem is, see, I see a government that is looking for a cheap way out of problem all the time. Nigerians are complaining. The cost of fuel is increasing.
And they're looking for another alternatives.
Yeah, in terms of alternatives, we can be looking at alternatives, and of course, one of it is this one they have brought up, but which is relatively low. The consciousness around it is very low. This gas of a thing, the consciousness around it is quite low at the moment, and that poses a lot of risk and challenges. But even the product we have, yes, we know that the world is transiting. There's energy transition, there are plans, there are agendas around energy transition. But like Doc said, out there yet, do we even have the infrastructure to adequately transit from fossil fuel to renewable energy, or other source of energy? Do we have all it takes to embrace the new products? That is another argument to answer. So, for me, why are we looking for cheap ways to excuse ourselves from our responsibilities? This way we're talking about, this petroleum we're talking about, the one that we still happy, that 99% of Nigerians still rely on. Why can we not make it available, accessible, affordable? Let the cost of producing a liter of fuel in Nigeria. But see, there's a lot of, I don't know what I should call it, abracadabra that they do with this fuel in Nigeria. They told us because they have to import the price will be 800 and something naira. And barely a month after that, they purchased locally in naira, not in dollars. And now they tell us that the price of purchasing the same fuel locally is higher than the cost of importation. Where you pay landing cost, you pay freight, you pay demurrage, you pay all sorts of charges, and they are still telling us that buying from local manufacturer is more expensive than importing. That is absurd. And for me, Nigerian government is not honest with us. If Nigerian government is honest, let us break down. Let us even start. What is the consumption rate of locally manufactured?
They won't tell you.
If we do this, we all know the truth. We know that when we not go anywhere near 500, if they want to be honest, and truthful to Nigerians. But because this government is bent at exploiting Nigerians, they find a way to package things anyhow and sell to us. And because they know it, we will not do anything. And we're not doing anything other than to give an ample opportunity for that.
All right.
But using that as a fire brigade measure to quickly bring something on board so that the Nigerians can keep quiet, it's not going to work. You don't even know if we are talking of commercial buses and that's government-owned buses. What about private owners? How many of us can actually cough out 300,000, 350,000 to go and convert our vehicles from fossil fuel to gas using or gas utilization vehicle? How many can conveniently this economy bring out that amount and go into that? Well, how many really benefit from it? So these are questions we should interrogate clearly and let the government know. See, we are not buying these stories.
All right.
Do the needful first. Then you will have enough time to start planning your transition, and then you know what you want to go into full transition with clear-cut strategy for managing and mitigating negative impact that will create.
All right, thank you very much. Darius Ishaku, the former governor of Taraba State, has been arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over allegations of involvement in a 27 billion naira fraud. He was taken into custody at his Abuja residence early on Friday morning and remains in custody as of Friday night. Dr. Godson, let me begin with you on this. EFCC arresting former governor for 27 billion naira fraud. First of all, let's see, do you think that there's going to be any positive results from the EFCC, you know, considering the trust issues, you know, affecting the EFCC right now?
Yeah, I think the EFCC is by law charged to prosecute any person, whether governor or institutions, that misappropriates funds.
But then there are, you know, criticism and how the people would look at the EFCC right now, because they say they are not really trustworthy. They don't see the EFCC doing their job.
Yes, people have brought such complaints or allegations. Yes, that's true. You know, EFCC, I see that over the years they've been doing what we call plea bargaining. Okay. Once they arrest a person, maybe a former governor or whatever, and there is that consultation they have, and after that they go into plea bargain, and at the end you will hear that the governor has been released. In some other cases you say the person is being prosecuted in a court of law. But I think EFCC themselves, they are not exonerated from financial anomalies, crimes too. So there is that integrity, that's internal deficiencies and corruption that also is likely seen in that commission, because we hear that so person is arrested, and after a while nothing.
The case goes up.
The case is over. You will not, even when in some cases they go to court, the next time you hear they say they want to settle out of court.
Playing out as regards the arrest of the former governor regarding the 27 billion naira fraud. I mean, considering the controversy surrounding the credibility of the EFCC.
Well, I will not talk about the credibility of the EFCC, but rather I will rather talk about what experience case goes.
Case, yes.
We know, I suppose we know that it will end up in nothing, like the doctor said. Not expecting any serious prosecution. I've been prosecuted, except on the few occasions of people in the past, like Iboria and life. How many governors? There was a governor from Kaduna or Kano, who was caught red-handed collecting dollars. What happened? He's a chairman of the third party. I mean, of the ruling party in the part of the north today.
Okay.
And there are cases like that. So, one, I think the problem is in the fact that the anti-graft agencies are not doing their job the way they should do it. And
that's why people are criticizing them. I mean,
the case of the governor in Kogi State, the immediate past governor of Kogi State, is still there. This same man walked to FCC compound last week, snapped pictures, and walked out freely, even despite a lot of evidences against him. You see, fighting corruption in Nigeria is, particularly using through the anti-graft agency, something that has become a mockery of the idea. Because what they do runs contrary to the mandate that it has. And for me, it is not something that is totally surprising.
Okay.
For instance, we've seen governors who were alleged of mismanaging billions of funds of naira, and the moment they cross and join the ruling party, their sins are forgiven. They become untouchable. ICPC, FCC is not able to go after them.
Okay.
Because they have belonged to the ruling party. And he who pays the piper dictates the tune. The ruling class appoint whoever is the head of this agency. So it's whatever, hey, okay, don't go there. It is don't go there. And until these agencies are independent, the level of interference from the executive could be minimized or even cut off completely. That is when we will see them function properly.
All right. And
that is when they will be able to do their job.
Okay.
And then we're talking about this issue of plea bargaining. And I've also argued it also elsewhere. I said, see, the idea of plea bargaining itself is criminal. So you are telling a thief, oh, you stole 5 naira, bring 3 naira, let's start down to 2. So instead of me stealing small money, I will steal him.
That's why they steal.
And return part of it and watch free and just go for free. Why can these people be tried under the penal code? Why the FCC Act that allows for plea bargaining? That is even alien to our kind of system. We are encouraging, we are either to encourage deep corruption with that clause or with that statement, plea bargaining.
All right.
If anybody is caught, he should be tried under the penal code. Let the law takes its course.
Of course,
that's what we want to see.
Well, fingers crossed in anticipation. Let's see how this case will play out in days to come. Let's take a look at the next story. Association of Hajj and Umrah Operators of Nigeria, AHUN, has suspended all activities related to the 2025 Hajj due to unresolved financial issues with the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. President Abdul Latif Ekundayo stated that NACON has been unwilling to refund money spent by its members on previous pilgrimages. The decision was made after a meeting of AHUN's National Executive Council and Board of Trustees. AHUN directed members to stop submitting payments or preparations for the 2025 Hajj until further notice. Additionally, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is investigating the mismanagement of a 90 billion naira subsidy for the 2024 Hajj. Yes, there's another case too on the table of the EFCC, Dr. Godson. Let's get your comment on this.
We see that it's still the issue of corruption.
Corruption, exactly.
Yes, managing funds, even in such religious organizations. So, the suspension is good for further investigation to, determine what led to this mismanagement. And EFCC coming in also to investigate is also with the intention of uncovering all the hidden corrupt practices that may have risen to that. So we'll see that this toll issue is an avenue some individuals have seen to be a way of generating or accumulating money. And they don't want to be accountable, because the issue of this mismanagement could be as a result of accountability, that transparency is lacking, accountability is lacking, and since it's a religious thing, and that those who are the top role feel that they cannot be questioned. But thank God the commission has come to say no, that we want to find out why is this like this. Therefore, we suspend all those activities so that they could be able to bring up all of those mismanagement and corruption that has lingered in this Hajj Commission. So it's a good thing to suspend and to investigate. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. I would like you to give me your thoughts in just a minute. Let's see, what's your take on this operation, this suspension that has been enforced by the Hajj Commission?
Well, I also agree totally with it. It's the right thing to do. First of all, what are we creating pilgrimage commissions for? Religion is personal issue. Government has no business supporting pilgrimage services, where you see government in the last 3 years, 4 years spent over 100 billion on pilgrimage trips for both Christians and Muslims. People who want to worship God should go and worship God with their own resources and in their own account. Government function, but because government has created that as another avenue for some persons to also make some cheap money, quick money. You see what is coming out of it? They embezzle, they steal. But if we do not have that kind of commission, there won't be anything for anybody to embezzle. So it's more or less an avenue to support party loyalists. You go ahead in this place. I think that's your own pot of soup, that's your own point of sales, your POS, as the case may be. But if we do not have touch, if government leaves it to individual, if I want to go to, what is it called, Jerusalem. If I have the money, let me go. If I don't have, I want it, God defines. And that is what should be. So we don't inadvertently encourage corruption because we are giving free money, or because people know that there's free money in some. I think it should be scrapped completely, and government should stop that act of funding pilgrimages in Nigeria. All
right, thank you so much Thank you so much for your great analysis, as always, Dr. Godson Kelechunwogu. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you on ATN Saturday today. Thank you so much. I will look forward to having you more. And Mr. Isaac, thank you so much for being on ATN Saturday. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for your great analysis, and as always, we do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And to you, the viewers, we thank you so much. This is where we wrap it up. Atn Saturday. Thank you so much for watching, and remember you can follow us on all our Atn socials. You can also stay connected with us on Atn, on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok at Atlantic TV Network 1, Twitter at Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Victor Peter.